paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, that's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin. I'm joined by Jason and DJ as always. And because we are first and foremost an educational podcast, I wanted to read you all something. I wanted to read you a term that you may not be familiar with. That term is development hell, also known as development purgatory, development limbo, or production hell, is a media industry jargon for a film
or production heck for our under 13 viewers.
An idea that remains in development for an especially long time, often moving between different crews, scripts, and studios before it progresses to production, if it ever does. Projects in development hell are not officially canceled, but progress until development has reached a satisfying state ready for production. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. In other news, Wizards has announced that Magic is coming to Netflix in 2022.
They have announced that Magic is still coming to Netflix.
They've announced that the Russo brothers are now not in charge of bringing Magic to Netflix. But they cast Brandon Routh as Gideon. So, like, as much as I'm going to shit on every other aspect of it, I like Brandon Routh a lot because
he's Superman.
He was Kirkland brand Superman. He just did not give a shit.
I don't even remember what Superman movie he was in.
Superman Returns with Kevin Spacey playing Lex Luthor. Oh, and James Marsden in like the 5th movie in a series of 100 where his girlfriend cheated on him. That was all James Marsden did. We needed him to be handsome and get cheated on in every movie he was in. And then we're like, go away for 10 years and then you can come back to Netflix.
Okay.
He was in Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic was great.
It's been the 10 years are up.
I guess so.
We did
he
say
did a
this
musical
is an
in 2007 and everyone's like, that's enough of that.
We did say this is an educational podcast, so you learned
True.
a menagerie of things in the first few minutes.
You learned that James Marsden got cheated on in The Notebook, in X-Men, in Superman Returns. He was 2 different superhero franchises. Can't keep a woman. Brutal.
Well, there you go. Unlucky for him, I guess. And now he's not even in the Magic Netflix show.
Who's cheating on handsome dudes? I don't understand. Lois Lane. Lois Lane? We're supposed to... Oh my god, she's supposed to be a paragon of purity, not like, you know what, I'm going to f*** around on Cyclops. Why not? Not a good Superman movie. Good Superman. Brandon Routh, he's decidedly good casting.
You know what's not a paragon of purity? The Plain of Innistrad. This is home of werewolves and vampires, and I'm talking incredibly slowly because I fear Jason will interrupt my bad segue.
Hippogriff horrors and dragon egg horrors.
More legendary oozes! We're gonna find out who Ive's family is. It's so touching.
Eve. Those are 3 different characters, by the way. Those are 3 different legendary oozes you just named.
That's the family right there. There was a... obviously, we recorded our episode last week. Less than 24 hours later, Wizards just drops a bomb of announcements. This was...
We didn't talk about last week.
We had a great episode last week, by the way. Go check it out. But this week... We've got announcements.
Shut up.
We spent 25 minutes on paper products.
And you know why we spent 25 minutes on paper products? Because we promised during that episode, I believe, that we would get a sponsorship with BCW Supplies. And you know what DJ did? He went out and got all of you, not just the 3 of us, all of you, an affiliate link and a promo discount code. So there'll be a link in the description. It's also in the Discord. It's everywhere you can find our content. It's on our link tree, all that stuff. And then if you use the promo code Brainstorm during checkout, you get 10% off your total order. And then some percentage of that goes back to us to help support the brand.
Get sorting trays in bulk. Get 10% off.
Get your sorting
Sell
trays.
them-
Get
sell
all
them
these
1 or 2 at a time to other people in our Brainstorm Brewery Discord.
boxes behind me, all these 5 rows, all the 1 rows, all the top loaders, literally everything you will need. You get 10% off on forever. If you use our affiliate link, it helps us out a little bit. And then if you use the promo code Brainstorm, 10% off.
Get on it, people. In fact, you can get free shipping if you put enough in your cart. So I think maybe we didn't even realize it until we were sort of like halfway through last week's episode. We were like, wait a minute. Everything we use is BCW. Turns out that's awesome. So there you go. Shout out to BCW for working with us. Shout out to DJ for taking the initiative there. It was great.
There's no alternative. You just, if you want to have products, you use BCW. And there's
There's a lot of alternatives, and I'm not going to name them anymore because we're sponsored by BCW.
Well, I can't think of any.
Well, we are going back to Innistrad. We knew that. You may be interested to know. If you want to get your werewolves, your vampires, now's the time to do so. Because we've talked about how
Haven't
we're
they
probably...
popped already, though?
Seems like some of them have. Late. No, it is not too... No, we haven't even had previews yet. We've had like 2 cards previewed or whatever, right? It is not too late at all. But Ulrich, for instance, the legendary werewolf from Shadows over Innistrad or Eldritch Moon, whichever one it was, that was very disappointing because it had nothing to do with werewolves. It's a werewolf commander that doesn't encourage you to build werewolf tribal. That's not very fun. But even that card has gone up from $1.50 to about $2.50 and is probably going to keep going up. So it's low-hanging fruit for a pick of the week. We're just going to talk about it now. But apply that trend to basically every card that is a werewolf, and to maybe a lesser extent a vampire, because there's just more options for vampires. But that's what you've got to look forward to in Innistrad. I don't know. Going back to Innistrad, I'm excited about. I kind of like this double feature Innistrad they did. If you remember, one of the issues they had for a long time was with drafting. Everyone really enjoyed 3 booster pack draft of the same set. But in the old system, when there were 3 blocks in a year, it was actually made to be drafted 1 of each set going backwards is how it would usually work.
No, first it was forward.
It was going forward and then going backwards.
Yeah, Scars of Mirrodin, it was like you draft Lorwyn, then Eventide, or then Morningtide, whatever.
Well, there were 4 blocks or 4 sets in the Lorwyn block.
Or whatever, Ravnica. Like, the original Ravnica was Ravnica, then Guild Pact, then Dissension. And then Scars of Mirrodin, when Scars of Mirrodin came out, they switched it to NPH, MBS, SOM.
Yep. So that was one of the issues. People, look, occasionally that made formats better, but most of the time it did not. And it was just less enjoyable in total. And it also made it really difficult to draft with your friends, right? To do any of that, because you have to buy 3 different boxes. And then open up
then you have enough
a third
packs
of each
for
box,
3 different drafts,
which you're never going to do, right? Like, it was not great. Anyways, Innistrad double feature is how they're going to try to tackle this here. It's going to be combining select cards from the 2 sets, Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, into 1 unique draft experience, featuring special art treatment on every card. So it's an interesting attempt. It's kind of like an Innistrad... And they've been doing remastered sets on Arena. This is going to be like Innistrad Remastered immediately after Innistrad comes out. But that was, in fact, that was one of the mini releases. Finally, we can talk about this openly now. We've known about Kamigawa Neon Dynasty for a while, thanks to a leak or a copyright or something. But after that, we've got Streets of New Capenna, which is going to be a shard set, a 3-color set, based on sort of a crime underground mafia thing, I guess. Then we're going back to Dominaria United. Sounds like a soccer team. And then the Brothers War, because the 90s are hip, or at least they were 5 years ago.
It's just called Two Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, look, 90s nostalgia is huge, or it was 5 years ago, so Wizards is going to do it 5 years too late, like they are with most pop culture trends.
I think the Brothers War could possibly just be like one of Magic's greatest sets of all time, depending on how...
It could be pretty neat.
That's what everybody thinks right now, certainly. They gave us a whole glut of announcements, and like that seemed to be the one that everybody was pretty jazzed about.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost every announcement from that stream was very, very good. There were a couple that took me like 3 hours to warm up to. There were some announcements where I was just like, what? And then like I calmed down after an hour and I was like, no, that's probably fine. Like that's probably very good for the game.
We've had months to get used to Kamigawa Neon Dynasty.
Seems fine. There's also another unset coming out, Unfinity. Seems fine. There's like the next Commander Legends already announced is going to be a Dungeons and Dragons crossover battle for Baldur's Gate. Well, that means nothing to me, but Baldur is like a Norse god, right?
They went ahead with this before they saw how AFR sold, and luckily AFR sold a ton.
And also probably before they saw how Commander Legends sold, because this was probably in the works for 2 years. But yeah. I think it's pretty easy to see that they were going to. It's not a stretch to say they were going to do more Commander Legends products. So that's cool. We want to round this out here. Double Masters 2022 because why not? Jumpstart 2022 because
Jumpstart's replacing core sets. That's kind of the lead there. I think that's a really good, because core sets were still Magic the Gathering. So like players are kind of like, oh, I guess if that's how I get negate in my deck, cool. But like in franchise Magic, players didn't love core sets, even though 2021 was pretty sweet. And new players still found it a little bit daunting. Jumpstart is the best way that they've found in paper, in a product that's not Duels of the Planeswalkers. Mm-hmm. It's the best way they found to introduce new players to the game. Jumpstart is really good, and replacing replacing core sets with Jumpstart will kickstart new players playing the game, and will give us a bunch of mistakes like Tiny Bones. So it'll
multi-kickstart us into a secret lair with Chun-Li.
Yep, we're on our way. Universes Beyond, we've got a Warhammer set. I believe it's a set, right? We've also got the Lord of the Rings set, which is announced as the Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth, TM.
And those ones will be modern legal, so you will be able to play Gandalf and Frodo in modern. And that was one of the ones where I initially had some reservations. I was just like, does that? But then like also the fact that you could have like a Kotaku article with 8 million reads that says, "Is Gandalf playable in modern?" is like probably good for the game.
I agree. What about this one then, DJ? Secret Lair, Fortnite, baby.
Also, very much an eye roller for me and most other boomers, but like is probably a net gain. Like if this is how
do the Godzilla shit, dude. I don't care what Magic card you make into some Fortnite, right? Like I don't care. Turn Commander Sphere into the card teabagging. I don't care what you do. But why does it have to be mechanically unique cards? Why can't they just give cards the... They
are. We're getting Godzilla treatment on these. Their new thing is the cards that are mechanically unique will then be printed within 6 months.
It's a reverse Godzilla. Yeah, I don't want a reverse Godzilla.
I mean, I don't know, man. They at least took a lesson that we all said, don't make the cards mechanically unique from the Walking Dead thing, and they now will be, the cards will exist otherwise. So,
oh, you know what? I changed my mind. Reverse Godzilla is about a giant monster putting out a bunch of fires, walking into the ocean, and then get radiation poisoning. So, like,
isn't that the plot to Godzilla, King of the Monsters?
Why would I know what that is?
Because you're the movie guru of the cast.
Yeah, dude, I've seen it.
Okay, but like Corbin, I'll be the middleman here. Corbin seeing a movie is not a barometer for Jason having seen a movie. Like
Godzilla eats a nuclear bomb in that movie.
I've seen Scrubs 8 times. Jason, why haven't you seen Scrubs 8 times?
Look, you know the guy from the GIF, the Let 'Em Fight guy,
Ken Watanabe.
Yeah, okay, and he's all like, "Let them fight." Well, Godzilla gets wrecked in that movie, and then he sacrifices himself to launch a nuclear weapon at Godzilla's dead body to reanimate Godzilla. That's the end of his character arc. And then in Godzilla vs. Kong, his son is a bad guy, and it undoes all that. They're not known for their plot. If you're listening to the show, you can't see Jason's face right now. Go to youtube.com/BSB. Go to about the, I'm going to take a shot at the dark here, about the 10-minute mark and take a look at that.
That's the face I made when I read that they were remaking Train to Busan in English. Let them
Anyway,
fight, but let them fight in Korean. Boy.
I think that we've covered the announcements. There's a lot there.
Yes.
It's going to extend. This is, I think, almost all of the rest of 2021 and 2022, because despite it's still feeling like it's April of 2020 and I can't leave my house, it is, in fact, almost 2022.
And you can't leave your house.
And I can't leave my house.
Because of the ankle monitor.
Well, there you go, everybody. That's everything that's coming up. The great part about
that's not everything that's coming up.
What
that is
did I miss? What did I miss?
Well, there's every 2 weeks, man. We're like, we know all the major. Everyone's like, well, it's been 3 weeks since AFR, blah blah blah. I'm like, no. What about mystery boosters? Like, we don't know what's going to pop up in the interim. There's so much stuff. There's going to be a thing every 2 weeks, because if Kotaku doesn't write an article about a new Magic product every 2 weeks, then like the CEO loses his job or something. He bet that Magic could be in the headlines every day, and he could only go on Jim Cramer's show so many times and be like, people like toys.
I mean, that's good for the game, though. Overall, it's exhausting for some. It's exhausting for the 1% of us who are like this deeply entrenched. But like,
I don't even buy the anymore. I was buying cases of collector boosters every set, and I'm just like, I can't do this every couple weeks.
Look, honestly, you're both right. You like DJ's right. To the casual fan, this stuff's great.
I bought a collection. Sorry. I bought a collection from somebody recently who gave me a very good quote. They sort of have the same mentality that Jason did, where like they bought a ton of stuff, every product, every set, and like they said, I am a whale that Wizards has hunted to extinction.
Yeah, like I've had this conversation with my own play group even recently, where I took sort of the other side in the argument, and I said, look, if they print a bunch of products that we ignore, but other people like, is that really any different than them having not printed them at all? It doesn't change the way you're interacting with Magic. But the reality is, by training people to ignore Wizards products because they're not for them, people are ignoring Wizards products. And it turns out people just ignore all of them. They get to a point where they're just so burnt out on it, whether they're either a whale who can't buy anything, who can't buy everything and just stops, or they're people who are just going to play with what they have already, and they don't look for new sets to buy new stuff because there's going to be something newer and brokener 3 months from then or 2 weeks from then.
Go back 2 years ago and listen to this cast. Listen to what we were saying 2 years ago when people like, there's too much product. I'm like, yeah, well, you don't have to buy all of it. It's not all for you. But now it's like, it is all for you, and it's not. But like,
I mean, we don't live in a world. The world then was like, are we going to get 4 secret layers a year?
Yeah.
Now it's like, are we going to get 24 a year? Yeah. So I don't know. That's just feedback I've gotten from people who were very into Magic, who just they don't follow. They used to send every spoiler of every set in a group chat, and now they just ignore it all. And you know that when I brought up that argument, like, how is it any different from us? And I said, well, now I just don't buy anything.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't buy these secret. It's that I just don't buy anything. Because why? Like, there's so much. If everything's special, nothing's special. And
also, like every Strixhaven card's worth 40 cents too. Because there's 15 different versions of it, and like nothing's worth it. Like the collector boosters aren't worth buying. Like, you tell me I'm gonna spend $15 on a booster pack, and then I open it and it's like, well, that's 49 cents worth of shit. Like, who has time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And the thing is, we don't know if this is people complaining and then they buy stuff anyways. Although, you know, anecdotally, I know people who just stopped buying.
That people haven't stopped buying because, like, each set is the best-selling set ever.
So, to an extent, I mean, that is sometimes true, right? That's not quite true because we don't hear them say that about every set. Like they used to.
They said that about AFR. That set doesn't even have any good cards in it.
I mean, it's got the crossover appeal. So it's just a question of they've prioritized growth over anything else. And and the thing is, when we talk about sales data, like just saying, oh, Wizards made record profits last year that doesn't mean anything, right? Because putting out 12 secret layers when they had 0 the year before, or 3 the year before, of course they made more money, even if fewer people bought the mainline sets or whatever, right? Like, just the profit margins on that stuff means that as a company, it's very profitable for them. Their revenue has exploded. The question is, at some point, does chasing growth start eating into retention? And I don't know. That's the question.
There's
I also think
definitely
it's-
an argument. There's definitely an argument that they're trying to emulate sort of like the Silicon Valley-esque like business model of just trying to like go as fast and hard and like as possible, like Uber or like just any sort of like high Silicon Valley company where they're just like throw all the money at everything and try to push everyone else out of the same market space. Like don't play Flesh and Blood because you can play Magic, and to show you that you can play Magic, we're going to spend trillions of dollars on like advertising and pushing all these products down your throat with every single channel of marketing space, and like just try to make
drown
you
it out.
Yeah, like because Wizards has like the legacy capability to like do that. Wizards is big enough, and Wizards just has this like behemoth, like David versus Goliath level of like endurance where they can just like sacrifice so much and like not actually lose anything to like some other smaller games and smaller companies.
Right. And to the growth versus retention point, it's kind of microcosmed in the pro scene where Wizards has just completely pulled support from the pro lifestyle, and all those players are quitting to play Flesh and Blood. But Wizards is making the bet that they'll be replaced by new faces who don't mind footing the cost because it's Magic, or that Flesh and Blood flames out in a year and those people have no choice but to come back to Magic, right? But
they learned the wrong lesson from the fact that like they're doing better in the market space. They think it's because Magic's appealing more than ever, but I think it's appealing less than ever. Magic didn't survive because it was the best game. It survived because it was the only game that people weren't trampling each other to death in a Walmart to get. Walmart got rid of their sport cards. They get rid of the Pokemon. The only thing that's left is Magic. That's what's selling because everything else is gone because people were knifing each other in the ribs over Pikachu.
Maybe. I mean, all of us, we are all just like armchair speculators in terms of like not having the actual.
That's
like,
why I'm not trying to make, blanket claims that Magic's dying. I don't think it's like that. I just think that you can the needs of the constant growth which permeates American society and business and all of that stuff, especially now that Magic is a core brand of Hasbro and is a very important part of their CEOs, the Hasbro CEOs earnings calls with investors every few months. I mean, all of that is going to push them towards your secret lair type products. And that's it remains to be seen, I think, whether somebody the retention is the price to pay. We don't know, right? Like, I also think it's not unhealthy if people decide not to do Magic for 6 months because they're burnt out on stuff, but then something catches their eye 6 months or a year down the road and they come back in and get new stuff, right? Yeah. I don't think that that's bad either, per se, because that's also how the game's kind of always worked.
How about the Secret Lair Magic the Gathering? You have the Crew of the Weatherlight, represented with mechanically unique cards that will get reprinted later as Mortal Kombat characters. But for now, it's Miri, it's Krovax, it's Gerard, it's Squee, it's all the people you love. Secret Lair Magic the Gathering.
That's absolutely what they did with like Dominaria in 2018. Like that's what they're doing with Dominaria in 2021. Like they know how to like bring out that old toy box of like nostalgia when they need it and when like they can time the big graph to go up. Like that's absolutely true.
Yeah. The question is though, it's hard to get nostalgic for something that lasts a week and a half. Like somebody tweeted a while back, like, can you name the 10 groups, factions, whatever on Kaldheim? And it's like, not only can I not name any, I wasn't even aware that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like Kaldheim did suffer from the fact that it needed more than one set. For sure.
Yeah. It's hard. It's easy to be nostalgic for Innistrad because Innistrad represented basically a year of Magic. It's a lot harder to be nostalgic for a 2-week period. So I don't know. We went pretty deep on that.
Which one was Kaldheim?
The snow set.
Listen,
the one where the big Phyrexian
I go on EDH
monster.
Rec and I click sets and there's a drop down menu and it's like the last 5 products to come out and like Kaldheim's not on there. It's crazy. Like, it's the last 5 products are on here. It's like shit from April is not in this list. Like, it's too much, too fast. It's too much.
And we just hope that it doesn't. I think Magic is resilient enough that if there truly was a market consequence for this too much, too fast stuff, Magic's going to survive and they'll fix it at that point.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's tough for boomers like us when it's the way of the world now, and it's really like this is very much the Hasbro. We're aiming to triple our revenue in 3 years. Push. That's what it is.
The one last closing thing before because this was originally not even supposed to be about this topic, but so like I do think the Wizards is very good at like throwing things to the wall and seeing what works, and then choosing to like keep with the things that work. Sometimes they do overdo it, yes, like masterpieces, etc. But like, I was sorting batches of cards with a friend recently, and we went over and found like my friend was like, "What is this set symbol?" And it's the Global Series with the blue and the green decks with like little Asian dog thing.
They had the Planeswalkers, right?
Yeah. That product is called Global Series. There was one of it, and like they announced it as a series. They quickly realized that it didn't sell any copies, and so they pivoted to something else. And like us as consumers don't really know what was that slot was like replaced with, but like they managed to quickly enough like get it on the shelves, check the data. Okay, this was trash. Throw it. See something else. Like that is like a skill that like we as consumers were like, oh god, there's so many products, but like they are phasing stuff out as they learn what doesn't work.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to Breaking Bulk. That was a good topic. I will throw the one thing we missed there is they're doing Pioneer Challenger decks. So I guess get on those Pioneer specs if you think that's going to be a thing in 2023 or 2022 rather, because they are going to put out in October, as a matter of fact, not all that long from now, a series of Challenger decks.
I like Challenger decks as a product.
Me too.
They're great. Yeah, they're great.
Azorius
Spirits, Orzhov Auras, Mono Red Burn, Lotus Field combo. So they went for the top decks in that format too.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
I have an Alliance's rare, and it's an artifact.
All right.
Gishta's Scepter.
Nope. This is a good one because most people listening or watching do not know what cards and Alliances are rares.
Lodestone Bauble.
Or casting.
Storm Cauldron.
Nope.
Soldavi Simulacrum.
Mm-mm. This costs 3 mana.
That doesn't... Wings...
H-Tier
Glider. I'm just naming... I don't know the rarities of everything, so I'm just naming... Oh, I'm going to feel so dumb.
It's okay.
Alliances is one of those I scan.
I know
the flag.
I know this set pretty well.
It's the flag, Corbin.
I mean, I'm aware of the set symbol, but
is it
I don't know
Digger?
what its rarities are.
Nope.
It's not Soldavi Digger. Okay. That's 3 mana. It's an artifact. It's rare. Jesus. What do you want from me?
I want you to say the words Phyrexian Portal.
That wasn't Alliances.
Oh,
Was that Alliances?
Phyrexian Portal.
It is a 3 mana artifact, and for 3 mana, you can target opponent looks at the top 10 cards of your library and separates them into 2 face-down piles. Choose one of those piles and remove it from the game. Search the remaining pile and put one of those cards in your hand. Shuffle the remaining cards in your library. Ignore this effect if you have fewer than 10 cards in your library. This card is awful, but it is still a few dollars. And you can probably guess why. Because it's an Alliance's rare that's garbage, but it's still worth money, so it can only mean one thing.
It's on the reserve list.
Phyrexian Portal is worth $3, everyone. Pick them out. As a general rule, when you're going through old sets, you can do what Corbin does and just scan everything that goes through if you just never experienced these cards before. But if you want to go even faster and you just want to like speed run it, taking out cards from old sets that just have a ton of words on them is just generally a good idea.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna hit you up with one other tip. This is actually what I do because I've been going through recently binders of people who had complete sets, of some of these older sets. And I don't know what's common and what's uncommon, what's rare. However, I go to our sponsor, mtgstocks.com. I look up the particular set on there. I pull up the entire list, and then you can simply type in the first couple letters, and you don't have to even make a click. It will, in real time, if you're on that set page, it will pull up any cards that match the text you're entering. So you can just type in Soldevi. You don't have to make any clicks, so it goes very fast when you're doing it, and you'll see every card with that in it. And I was able to just power through those sets very quickly using that. So just one of those little tips on how to use MTG stocks. There's a reason they're our sponsor. It's the best website for everything you want to do in Magic Finance, and that was just a complete lifesaver for me while going through some of these sets.
Oh yeah,
that I don't know the rarities.
You can also just like ignore the rarity and like filter by rare and uncommon, and then just sort by price. And generally, the old sets have like 15 or 20 cards. It's not that hard to like either A, memorize, or B, just like write down or make a little template thing of the 15 cards. Is like pull it up on a different browser, pull these 15 cards, and then everything that's not those, you just pattern recognition over 10 minutes, and then you just ignore everything
Exactly.
else.
And it's not like people forgot the rarity on this stuff. Sometimes we didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know back then.
You had to get a Scry or an Inquest or a Dose magazine to look up rarities. Like, I was at the LGS, I opened up a pack of 4th edition. I was like, what's my rare? And like a dude who'd been playing since Alpha was like, Sinbad? Like, he didn't even know. So
yeah, there you go. All right, I'm gonna hop in next here. I've got a Battle Bond Uncommon multicolored Rakdos.
Is it like Azra something?
It is Azra something.
Okay.
I don't know if that's, I don't know how many cards have the word Azra in it, so I don't know if that's you knowing the card or not.
I know the card.
Azra something. Well, 0 results.
It's Azra Oddsmaker.
Oh, yeah, that card is kind of fun.
Yeah, 3/3 for 3 Rakdos mana. It's an uncommon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may discard a card. If you do, choose a creature. When that creature deals combat damage to a player's turn, you draw 2. So it's a really complicated way to turn 1 card into 2 cards, but it's repeatable. And obviously
gambling.
in a deck with discard synergies, graveyard synergies, it works out very well. It's actually, this card's $1. If you've got a Battle Bond bulk you're looking at.
Great discard outlet. Great way to bet you're going to punch somebody in the face. Good times.
All right, Jason, what do you got?
Speaking of graveyard synergies, you get one hint. This is a Dominaria Uncommon. That is black.
Final parting.
No. My pick's a different card.
Okay. Is it actually?
It might be. It's a $5 foil. That's why I picked it. That's silly. It's a $1 card I still get in bulk. So, like, if I picked it recently, I'm sorry, but like, I also got it in bulk recently. So,
no, Final Parting is in bulk all the time. It has not been picked this year. I think we've just talked about it before because it is.
Yeah.
It's a perfect pick from that set.
and it just seems
the
tough
prototypical breaking bulk.
Yeah, we did it.
It's not a card they put in commander decks because they don't put tutors in commander decks.
You said toot.
Got him, I guess. Anyways, all right, we want to move on here to the main, what was supposed to be the whole cast, but now it's going to be at least a couple emails for you here. We went off on the announcements a little bit. We're going to start off with some current emails, and we're going to reach back into the vault a little bit. So, DJ, why don't you go ahead and hit us with that reader email?
Yeah, so there's 2 emails I'm looking at right now. There's 2 emails. One of them says, "Attention, $1 patron," in all caps. The other one, in much less aggressive font, says, "Mythic patron must read." So I'm going to click that one. Mythic patrons are $20 patrons who will guarantee to get their emails read, in addition to receiving after hours, spreadsheets, super fancy swag like the glass that Jason's holding up, altar sleeves, playmats, and/or tokens, and/or all the other cool stuff we send out. This is from Visk, VSSK. Dear Brew Crew, do you think that the convention mystery boosters and the mystery booster convention exclusive will have the same print run, or is there more of one than the other? Do you think this is going to be a the list type situation where the reprint will not affect the price outside of draft weekend due to limited supply, or will there be a couple good month dip like a master set from the only based on Dominaria you can get decent Wi-Fi reception? Wait, how is there Wi-Fi here?
Solid sign off. So the question is basically, what do we think about the mystery boosters at the conventions versus the ones you can buy locally?
Yeah, so there is like something you have to explain here. So there's mystery boosters convention exclusive, which was the product that was originally debuted at the Magic Fests in 2019. With the test print cards, and that was like a huge thing, and that was the big reveal. Then there was Mystery Booster retail edition, which had the very curly foil sheet print run where you could get like Scourge of the Throne and Helix Pinnacle foil that had the same product list in the card slots. The only difference was the card in that back slot. You couldn't get the Sliv Mizzet or the
playtest cards.
Yeah, the playtest cards. And then there is the reprint of the convention one. So it's convention mystery boosters, and it still has the playtest cards, but they're slightly different in that they have like the little symbol in the bottom or whatever, where like you can technically tell they're not first edition, but they did reprint the convention exclusive one as convention edition. So like, yeah, that's where we're at. That's how we get to answer the premise to the question.
No kidding.
But yeah, like I do think that there is a large number of people opening up this product right now, and I do think that you will have a good buy-in opportunity for the reprints of that set. Like Exsanguinate is a good one that just got hit that like I think will dip down a couple bucks, and then you buy it, and then assuming it doesn't get hit again, it goes to 10 or 11. I do think there will be some good buying opportunities with this set. I don't think it's like a situation where there's none available.
Yeah, and there are going to be convention events with these over the next few months as well. As a matter of fact, one I'm helping out with online is PAX. If you're going to be at PAX West this weekend, as a matter of fact, there are mystery booster events going on. So we are going to see some more of this hitting the market over the next several months. It's hard to predict the prices on some of this mystery booster stuff,
especially
among
like
other things.
Sliv Mizzet and stuff like that. That just everyone's like, I open an $800 card, and then they can't sell it. It's been a real roller coaster.
We have to talk about or at least mention the difference in the landscape between when mystery boosters first came out and the 20 secret layers a year, 12 different versions of cards world we live in now. You know, the playtest cards with mystery boosters were a lot more special back when they debuted in 2019 than I think they are heading into 2022, and just in terms of the whole entire Magic ecosystem.
Oh yeah, like there's definitely a lot less like you always want to sell something when it's like super brand new and hypey, and like I remember we were paying like $300 on certain test print cards at some point on those weekends at like Magic Fest Richmond on that crazy event where they all first came out. And like the people who wanted to spend $300 on them and the people who wanted to get that like first rush collection already have a lot of them. And the fact that a lot of people were priced out of them at that point, yes, like a lot more will enter the market. There will be a lot more demand as they go down, but like I do think it's a sort of trickle effect where like a lot more will enter the market than there is pent up demand. Like they're not tournament legal, and they're either a collector boost, like collector items for binders. Don't use binders, or they are just gonna like sit in
Does
cubes.
BCW make binders? I don't want to.
It's okay because they make the boxes. So either way, people, you'll be set.
Buy a BCW binder, take your cards out of it, put it in a fine BCW box. Use the code BrewCrew at checkout to save.
It's Brainstorm.
Brainstorm.
Shut up. Shut up. Yeah, use Brainstorm.
All right. Hit it. Next email, DJ.
All right. I really liked this email because it had a pick that I thought was a very good pick. This is from Michael. Hey, Brewer Crew, just finished up episode 550 or 454. I don't know which one that one was. There's a lot of episodes. While cutting the field at work. That's my typical Wednesday routine. Being me, my John Deere tractor, the ghosts of the dinosaurs that propel the combustible engine, and you fellas. Not that you asked. I had to read that sentence in that accent.
I agree.
Did you?
That was good work. Good work.
You just alienated one of our listeners.
I was going to make the suggestion to that Magic Pod with a Canadian guy and the New York guy, but I don't give them my Patreon monies as of yet, so I was going to bounce it off yous guys. They did say yous guys.
Okay.
Pick of the week. Necropolis Regent Foils. It's a mythic from RTR, which is nearly 10 years old. There are only about 45 listings on TCG when this email was sent, which is started this month. It's cheap. There's plenty under a fin. A fin? F-I-N?
Afinsky.
Okay.
I assume that means that I don't know what that means.
It's under $10.
And Innistrad 2 months. So 4 very good bullet points. It's a vampire, which he didn't mention, which I mean is kind of the Innistrad in 2 months part, but like seems like it could double up. No, you guys are the pros. I am just a old that has a ton of cards. So what does MTG Stock say about this card right this second?
Well, this card actually just got reprinted in Commander 2021, which was, of course, a non-foil printing.
Yeah.
So the non-foil of this card has been going down, whereas it's under $1. Whereas the foil has it used to be much more, right? This card used to be an $8 to $10 foil 3, 4, 5 years ago. More recently, it has gone up from about $3.50 to about $3.85. So it could be the precursor to some growth there within Innistrad.
I would say this is fine. I think there's probably better places to put your money, but there's also a lot worse places to put your money. If you're somebody that just likes vampires, likes foils, needs one for their commander deck, now is absolutely when you buy it. Maybe you just buy like a playset if you can find one that has like cheap shipping or like just a slightly underpriced playset. You could grab one. Mythic foils are going to be noticeably harder to move. Again, yes. I do think there are some better places to put your money. We'll go over them in a little bit in pick of the week, but I do not think this is a bad pick. Like this, if you have them, you definitely hold on to them. That kind of thing. So foil Necropolis region, I give it like a B+.
I don't want to sit here and say it's not reprintable, but
it's harder to reprint
in foil.
Yeah. I don't think it gets reprinted in foil. But that said, I'm with you, Jason, that there's probably better vampires even to put your money in, and I also tend to stay away from foils, especially sort of a regular foil, so to speak. Not, this isn't a full art foil from a Double Masters type set. They're harder to move. I don't think a ton of people foil out their commander decks these days. Commander's kind of a rotating format. So, like I said, I don't know if I'm as high as a B+ on it, but I think it's not going down. I don't think certainly don't think you're going to lose any money on this, but maybe don't go drop $500 on them unless your plan is to actually buy out TCG Player, in which case you probably would spike this to $10.
Well, this could have done something if Strixhaven were more than 15 minutes long. Felisa, Brina, and Shattered Silverquill were running this card, as well as Kalain Reclusive Painter, but people have already moved. AFR was 2 weeks ago. That's old. Give me my Cyberpunk 2077 kind of design Umezawa's deck set. Like, I'm bored with Strixhaven. That was some old. That was a month ago. So you had a bunch of different decks that are running this card, but it wasn't really enough to even like take down the modest number of listings on TCG Player. So,
all right.
I don't know. Like it being reprinted in the pre-con, got people playing it. So if they have a free copy when they buy the pre-con, are they really going to spend money upgrading to a foil? That's kind of a tough sell. But at the same time, like that was the way that deck mechanically worked, the Felisa deck, the way it worked, it was perfect for a card like this. So I don't know. I tend to say, oh, it's hard to reprint in foil, so like the foil copies are safe. I think that's a thing that I rationalized before a card's reprinted, but after it's reprinted, that's I don't know.
I think that's fair.
I'm not maybe gonna give this a B plus, but like certainly maybe the thought process was fine, but like
The thought process is good. It's just that same thought process is probably better pointed at maybe like we talked about Ulrich, right? Ulrich has gone from $1.50 to $2.50 in the past 2 weeks. You know, and that's not even a card I think that has a lot going for it. I think you're probably better off looking at just a non-foil option for the tribal.
Yeah,
aspect.
I would target something that didn't just get reprinted because
That too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of specs, it's time to go back, y'all. We're going back in time. Stick with me.
The spec is a retro spec.
Yes, this is a this is certainly, we're going back a little bit here. This came to us at the beginning of 2015, which was the before times. Whatever part of the last 5 years you have not liked, this was before that.
So,
Okay.
for context, because I'm context guy this episode, before I joined this podcast, that was the before times. Things were in shambles. Things were horrible. It was the dark ages. And then you would send your listeners emails and or carrier pigeons to the Brainstorm Brewery HQ, and then they, including the pigeon, would just go straight into the shredder. Just like a gravity fueled just shredder.
Went into the vault.
And I personally alone went through and like crime show style put together all of the shredded emails and then mailed them out to Corbin, and he put them in a physical vault, and that's why we call it From the Vault emails. So these are your old emails from near decades ago, I will say. Near decades ago. And we're reading these and catching you up in real time.
There you go. I'll give some more context here. The top song of 2015. Any guesses?
Imagine Dragons Radioactive.
Nope, that came out after that.
2015.
Well, the fact that you brought it up.
Uptown Funk, baby.
That's that old? Wow, okay.
Also, Take Me to Church by Hozier.
I was gonna guess something from like the Taylor Swift, like
Taylor's. It was the it was the Shake It Off Taylor Swift year. Blank Space.
I had an infant and she was writing a song about shaking, and that's not cool.
All About That Bass, Meghan Trainor, 2015.
All right, what's the email?
All right, the email. I don't know if this has been covered in Finance 101, Brew Crew, but squeezing in something about speculating and dumping via Puka Trade might be good.
Oh,
I think it's a very viable option for people.
I'm done being context guy. Y'all aren't going to learn what Puka Trade is if you don't know.
I'll tell you this.
You missed
dumping via Puka Trade. That would have been good advice back in 2015.
If you were dumping your Puka credit.
Dumping anything in Puka Trade.
Puka Trade came on our podcast and did a whole episode where they talked about how great Puka Trade was. They gave Ryan, Corbin, and Marcel like $100 in Puka points and didn't give me shit.
So they gave Ryan, Marcel, and Corbin 30 cents in Puka points.
I could have cashed out like they did.
Look, at the time we were kind of finding our feet with guests, and I will say that episode did not age particularly well.
It was the worst episode of this podcast we've ever
They can't all be A plus, you know.
And
only one can be the worst, and it's that one.
If you bought Bitcoin and Puka points at the same time.
Oh no. Yep. That's all there is to that.
Puka points weren't as environmentally irresponsible as Bitcoins.
No, just as community irresponsible.
Weren't they? Because like the guy took a jet out to Vegas, so like
yeah. All right, we got one more here coming to us from March of 2015. Hey guys, I only started listening to the podcast recently, and I'm finding it very helpful.
This guy has stopped by now.
With Theros winding down, I have a question. I'm going to GP Las Vegas this year and wondering what I should be looking to trade for that week. Thanks in advance, Clayson. You see, he said thanks in advance, so he's thanking us for answering his email today.
Clayson?
Right. Clayson.
Go to the Cool Stuff Inc. booth. They have a German... it's Renaissance Soul Ring. It's $25. You're going to try to talk them down to 20. They're going to think for a second. They're going to be like, I can't take 20 on that. Just pay the fucking 25, dude. Just pay it. It's a black bordered foreign language soul ring. You could have had it for $25, Clayson. You could have had it for, maybe they would have said, hey, you're the second guy today to offer us $20. Maybe that is a good number. You know what? Have it. Your name even rhymes with, I'm not going to say who it was that didn't pay 25. Your name, Clayson, rhymes with the name of the person that we shot down. Maybe it's your lucky day. You know what? Have it. $20 seems like a good price, Clayson. That is my tip.
Good tip, Jason.
If I had a time machine, I would not go back and try to stop Hitler. I would go buy that German Renaissance soul ring for $25.
Good to know, man. Good to know. I went and looked, by the way. The sets that came out in 2015, that was the Battle for Zendikar year. It looks like, and as well as the Tarkir, into the Tarkir year. So I think Dragons of Tarkir came out in March of 2015. My advice to you at GP Vegas 2015 is to go to those drafts, and it is to pick every impact trimmers you can off the table.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was just gonna be to like go to Vegas and like trade for bottles of water.
Okay, write this down. KN95. Type that in. You gotta sell them fast. Amazon is gonna shut down your account as soon as you break.
But be ready. You'll
figures.
be. Yeah, we talk about buying before. Yeah, that's good. You want to be the person with it on hand. That's all the advice we got
Soccer
for
moms will
2015 Vegas.
years for a bottle of hand sanitizer. 5 years from now, just hold on to it.
There you go. Well, everybody, send in your emails to brainstormbrew@gmail.com. We promise to read them either recently, we had some recent emails, or we promise to read them 5 or 6 years in the future. But either way, thank us in advance. You can't take that back.
Corbin's
It's time
kid
for
will be
pick of the
reading
week.
emails 5 years from now.
I'd love to bring the kid on 5 years from now. That'd be great. Sooner or later, we got to hand it off, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what they do. Like,
Is this
Mike
podcast
Golick,
Is this podcast in your will?
Yeah, this is my legacy. Yeah.
No, like is
Mike
it
Golick,
literally legally in your will to give it to your son?
Man, it should be, I guess.
Yes,
I got
absolutely.
2 kids though, so we'll see
Lily
which one of them
Lily
I
and
like
Ben
more.
doing a podcast would be weird.
Well, we have the wife. We had the wife cast,
The kid cast?
the kid cast.
So who's
It's not as far away as you think.
Who's going to be older in 20 years, Liliana or my second wife?
Say that. Can't say that, man. Your wife might
wife's-
listen. Your
My
wife
first
might
wife
listen
is
to the
not
show.
listening. She doesn't
Well-
listen to the cast because she doesn't support me, unless
good
you
idea.
count financially.
We'll read an email from then. Yeah, we'll have a from the vault email 20 years in the past.
That's just a good strategy, right? You just always refer to your wife as your first wife, even if she's not your.
That's a strategy. I don't know if good's the right word.
It's funny because I have done that. I said she's an excellent first wife.
Results may vary.
Yeah, results may vary.
I'm Scott's Totzinger because, I plan to make enough money for a second wife by the time.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
15 years from now, I'm promising to myself I'll be a millionaire.
What's good is being a millionaire 15 years from now when we're in the water wars of the future.
Yeah, that's why I'm buying water now. I'm buying land in Canada.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is too cold to live now, but will be it'll be a nice balmy mosquito haven.
It's just the it's the territorial equivalent of leaving the chicken to thaw out before dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Good
looking
to know.
ahead. I missed the boat on Bitcoin. A bunch of guys at my LGS were mining it, and I was like, you guys are complete dorks. I'd love to mine these fake money coins with you, but I've seen a vagina. I'm out skis. And you know what? I'm not going to make that mistake again. I've watched every episode of Doomsday Preppers, and
That part's true.
and I've learned from all their mistakes.
Learned from the best, really.
Every episode of Doomsday Preppers, and not a single guy's like, I'm prepping for climate change. It's always like, the polls is going to reverse. China's going to ask for their money back. Not a single person's like, climate change.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Wow. All right. We got to
All
just
right,
move
so-
on. There's no way out of that one.
Shut up. Jason's gonna spend the next 15 years filling his Cabal coffers, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Cabal coffers
It's time for Pick of the Week.
Yeah, Cabal coffers is down to like $20. It started the year at like 100.
Mm-hmm.
So my pick of the week is either 1 Cabal coffers or 20 bottles of water.
You can
Dealer's
get
choice.
more than 20 bottles of water for $20, dude.
I want to point out that Cabal Coffers actually topped out. Real talk, the market price of that card was $123 before this reprint in Modern Horizons 2, and now you can get it for $20.
That's like $123.
Okay,
That dipshit DJ sold me a Japanese one for $70.
Got him.
Idiot.
All right, so if you're listening to this podcast, this is for our driving listeners. This is for people who are listening to while you're driving. Just pull out your phone real quick and look up the price of Phyrexian Altar.
Skirt.
On release of Ultimate Masters, Phyrexian Altar was $20. You want to know what it is now? Like $65. This card and that card are basically identical. So do that. Like just buy Cabal coffers before it's $60.
Yep, certainly a great pick. I have another black card that you could cast with your Cabal Coffers mana. And this one has started to move. I actually posted about this on our Discord, which of course our patrons who go to patreon.com/BSB and give us as little as $1 a month or 20 or 25 cents an episode, as someone on this cast might say. We already know about this card, but Cordial Vampire is $3. It's from Modern Horizons 2. It's a 2-drop. It's a 1/1. Whenever it or another creature dies,
card
not just
is from
your own.
the first Modern Horizons.
Oh, you're right. I apologize. Yes. The first Modern Horizons, Cordial Vampire, is put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. This thing triggers off of any creature dying, not just your own. So
yeah, I
with
just
the
learned that
vampire-
today.
Yes.
Like
yes. So-
when that card first came out, I thought it was when a creature you control dies, put a counter on. But like, just learned that today.
Nope.
Yep. Now this is certainly a card that could end up in a vampire precon, something like that. But if it doesn't, and frankly,
Get foils.
frankly, even if it does, it's going to. The foils have been going up as well. The foils are about $8.
Yep.
Even if it does end up in precon, it's going to be more expensive between now and when that precon actually comes out. That you still might be able to make money on it because it's been starting to move since I posted about it. So Cordial Vampire at $3, huge spec for your Innistrad wants.
Not to be confused with Vampire Cordial, which is a virgin blood and liquor covered in chocolate. Delicious. I got a bonus
from Resident
What?
Evil.
Maybe.
It's kind of what I was thinking.
Imagine being like, ooh, virgin blood, and then it's like just a dude who plays Magic. I got a bonus pick of the week. I couldn't decide, so I'm picking them both. If you hear the cast, you will know that I really like Harmonic Prodigy, especially the $2.50 foils. The non-foils are under $1. Harmonic Prodigy, it only triggers wizards and shamans, but it turns out that's a lot of cards. But here's a card that is under $1.50 and is inevitably an $8 to $10 card if it's not reprinted. That card, of course, Fractured Sanity.
What does Fractured Sanity do?
Fractured Sanity costs 3 blue mana, and it mills each opponent 14 cards. Or you can cycle it and mill each opponent 4 cards. It mills 14 cards. It mills 14 cards. It's a lot of cards. It doesn't matter if this is good or not. It doesn't matter if mill ever gets there. This mills 14 cards.
Mill's actually been good in Modern over the past 6 months or so.
Well, good. Now you can mill them 14 cards, or they can have they can have a thing, and then you can mill them 4 cards while you cycle this to draw your 1 pack rat to help you beat.
Yeah.
They got an Emrakul in their deck, and you go get your 1 pack rat with your Fractured Sanity, and you just go to Pack Rat Town.
So
mill cards are good. It mills 14 cards.
So when you said this card's name, I thought it was a different card, and I agreed with you more than I do now, actually.
Fractured Identity.
No, I thought you were referring to Fraying Sanity.
Fraying Sanity.
Which is the
Also-
Hour of
Sanity's
Devastation
fine.
Curse, which was printed much more forever ago.
Yeah,
and-
Hour of Devastation.
And tends to mill a lot more cards when attached to one person over the course of a game. I don't know. Hour of Devastation was like 5 years ago, and this card
a while
is.
ago.
I feel like Fraying Sanity hits 10 before Fractured Sanity hits 8. Personally,
Buy them both. Wow,
I do
3
like the buy
picks
'em
of the
both
week.
strategy.
You cut 3 picks of the week for the price of 1. What a segment. What?
for the price of 0, they didn't pay for it.
Unless they went to patreon.com/PSP and gave us $5 an episode, which is $1. Oh, nope. Nope. Which is $1.25 per sub episode, per segment. Give us $1 per segment. Imagine if you gave us $1 per segment.
We might have
what
more
you
segments.
We would do a lot more. Oh yeah, it would be like in India where they were like paying people to catch snakes, and then they started breeding snakes. I'm just a snake guy now.
That's
Look at all the
capitalism,
snakes
man.
I have. And they're like, did you catch those? They're like, sure. And they're like, people are breeding snakes. And they're like, well, stop paying people for snakes. And then they let all the snakes go, and then there were more snakes.
It was kind of the opposite of the intended goal there, yeah. Good
Anyway,
to know.
that has nothing to do with anything. I just like
That has
describing memes.
everything to do with finance.
I just like describing memes. That's what we do on this podcast. Ask the ice frog.
There you go. Well, I think that wraps it up for us this week, everybody. Reminder to go check out our sponsor, mtgstocks.com. Reminder to go to BCW and use that Brainstorm code. And if you want to check out some Magic Art, go to originalmagicart.store and use the Brew Crew code. We've got some really great partners in the community, including you, all of
Corbin.
our listeners who make it possible.
Corbin,
Yes, DJ.
what's the code for BCW?
Brainstorm.
Yeah,
That's
you said,
right.
You said Brew Crew.
I said Brew Crew for originalmagicart.store. Roll that tape. Thanks for listening, everybody. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.